Hey, welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. Someone, however, who is YouTube famous is one Jeffree Star. And this beautifully bright look today has been achieved with the Thirsty Palette. So, if you want to see exactly how I achieved this look, how good the new shimmer format is, and how much building I had to do for the bright colours in my cut crease, you're in exactly the right place. Don't go anywhere. Here's the tutorial. Hey, welcome back from the intro. The lighting might be a wee bit different, but that's because I'm normally filming before midday and it's currently 3 o'clock. Now, I was going to have a day without makeup, but then this arrived. And you know, I couldn't resist. I had to come and try it out. So, I got my base done. I used the W7 Very Vegan HD foundation. Used Maybelline Fit Me as my concealer. Usual base products in terms of bronzer and blush. Coffee bronzer, peach blush. Did my brows with the L'Oreal Brow Expert. And we're ready to go. So, here she is. I'm so excited. The packaging has got like clear spot lamination to it, which looks like water droplets, front and back, as has the outer cardboard packaging, front and back. So that's a nice bit of, you know, a nice bit of symmetry. Now, I've not got any of the lipsticks yet because hubby bought me this from Beauty Bay, but I had to buy the lipsticks from Beautylish because I needed to take advantage of their multi-pay option. So I'm going to be using a different lipstick with it, but this is what we're trying today. So unlike a lot of his others, there is actually a really thick, and I mean thick, can you hear that? That is a really thick piece of plastic protecting the mirror from the shadows, possibly because the shimmers in this one are a different formulation, which he did say. You can see there's just a little bit of shimmers come off over the edge of there, but I think that's just, there doesn't appear to be any damage in packaging. They all look fine. The, funnily enough, lick in the middle of that there doesn't appear to be filled quite as full as the other pans. I don't know if you can actually see that. I don't know if that's just my particular palette, but all the other shimmers pretty much are level with the top of the packaging. I don't know how well that's going to come across, but you can actually see lick is actually, you know, a millimetre or two below it. Now, it could just, I mean, there's probably the same amount of shadow in there. It could just be that it's softer and that it compacts more. We'll have to wait and see on that. And the big mirror has actually got plastic protective, which, as always, it's full of static and immediately sticks to your hand when you take it off. One of these thin ones just to protect the mirror. So that's actually probably the most protection any of his mirrors have had. With Beauty Killer and Androgyny, I don't remember there being plastic over the mirror. Yeah, the thin staticky plastic. And there certainly wasn't a sheet protecting the mirrors from the shadows. Likewise, in Blood Sugar there isn't, because when you open it you can actually see the shadow pans outlined almost in the mirror where you know, powder has come up off of them. So definitely very different packaging this time round. I'm going to pause you for just a minute and I'm going to do some swatches. And then what I'll do when I come back, I'll put the swatches up on screen rather than do this, because I just think you actually get to see them better that way. Normally I would swatch before I sit down, but because of Lick being indented, I wanted to show you that before I actually touched it, because you can see I've not actually touched any of these pans yet to swatch at all. Okay, so I'm going to pause you, I'm going to swatch, and I'll be straight back. Hey, I'm back. Just to prove, look, I have literally just done the swatches, but yeah. Like I said, I'm going to put a picture up on screen. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to clean the swatches off my arm. I've swatched all the mattes across the top. I'll put the picture up here. I'll put all the mattes across the top and then the shimmers at the bottom. So going from my wrist to my elbow, you may not be able to see Parched because it is pretty much my skin tone. You've got Parched, Taste Buds, Beach, Kumquat, Stroke, Subtle, Quench, Submerge, Splash and Drizzle. And then underneath that we have the 5 shimmers: Divine, Filthy Rich, Lick, Snatched and Plunge. Love that word. And I'm back. Hi. Right. I'm going to start applying this because I have waited quite long enough. I'm going to zoom you in. Wait for my white balance to catch up. There we go. Right, now when I look straight ahead you can see all of my mobile lid, so I don't have a hooded eye. If you don't see that, you can still follow this tutorial. All you have to do, with your eye open, get a finer brush and just sketch out where you'd need your crease to be. Now I've got a lot of space, because I've got deep set eyes, I've got a lot of space between my crease and my brow. If once you've raised your crease up you've got significantly less space, I suggest you start with a slightly smaller fluffy brush than I'm going to use. Okay, now although I've set my concealer with my Coty Airspun, shadows from the same palette always seem to blend best on themselves. So I'm going to pick up some of this Parched, which is close to my natural skin tone, and I'm just going to run that all over from lash to brow. Not a huge amount of kick up in the pan. Feels very much like his other mattes in that it's very blendable, very creamy, very smooth, doesn't feel like it's skipping. I mean obviously it's difficult to tell with a colour like this because it could be skippy and you wouldn't be able to tell. Obviously you'll be able to see more once I start adding some colour, which I am just about to do. I'm going to attempt a cut crease. It may or may not be successful, but I want to try as many of these colours as possible, and in order to do that I'm going to have to do a cut crease. So I'm going to start off with the same brush that I just used and go into Taste Buds, and I'm going to start off by windscreen wipering that backwards and forwards across the top of my eyeball or wherever you need your crease to start, because where I'm, you know, older than 40 and I've lost quite a bit of weight over the years, my eyelids do move quite a bit, so I have to make sure I go backwards and forwards quite a bit to make sure there's no gapping. And then the other way to prevent that is that I now do circles, holding the brush right at the end to put as little pressure on your eye as possible. I'm going to start off just with little tiny circles, working from the outside into the nose, and then lift the brush up slightly, reverse the direction of the circles. And I'm going to do this until I've blended that up to within about 4 or 5 mils of my brow, from the lowest part of my brow. You take it as high as you want, but because I intend to highlight under the brow here, I want to leave some space. I don't want to go right up to my brow. That's also quite an ageing look if you carry the colour right up to your brow. It's something we tended to stop doing around about mid-80s, I think. Or at least most of us did. Some of us still continue with it. I have moments when I think, oh no, slow down, Ange, you've gone a bit too high with that. And you can see that's blended out really nicely. So I'm now going to go in and repeat that on the other eye. As you can see, I'm struggling a bit with hay fever today, so I've got quite watery eyes. So if you see gaps in my foundation, I do apologise. But blame the pollen cloud. Some years I don't get hay fever very much at all, and this year I've really been hit with it. But then I think a lot of people are being hit with it this year that don't even normally get hay fever. I know my husband's suffering quite a bit, and he doesn't normally get hay fever. Unless he's just, you know, cut the lawn, then he'll sneeze for a bit. But normally he doesn't get affected by it, and even he's been needing an antihistamine the last few weeks in the morning because he's sneezing and his eyes are itching, and I'm like, yeah, that's hay fever, babe. Welcome to the club. You can see once I've finished doing the twirlies, I then do little windscreen wiper movements up and down just to make sure that it's all nicely blended and there's no clumps anywhere where my eyelid skin may have folded over on itself. You can see that's blended out really nicely. Right, I'm just going to go into my colour switch now. You can see I've been tapping my colour off my brush. And I'm going to just clean the colour off of that brush. And then continuing with this big fluffy brush, I'm going to go into Bitch. Okay, this one's got a little bit more kick up in the pan than the first two did. I don't know if I can actually, there you go, let's see. That's got quite a bit of kick up in that pan. So we're going to do the same thing to start with, run it along the crease there. And I'm going to blend the colour up again, but I'm not going to take it quite as high this time. When you get shadows that have that amount of fallout, don't blow the fallout off, because you can just really carefully, gently lay your brush on the shadow like that and pick up the excess and tap off, so then you're not wasting any of it. So I don't have an issue if it's got a lot of kick up in the pan. It's if it has a lot of fallout or doesn't blend that I have issues. You'll have heard me say that about other palettes that have got kick up. And you can see I'm not actually moving the brush up, I'm just running it along the crease there to deepen that colour up, so we can still see the first one that we put down. And that's blending out really nicely too. So how's your day been? I feel very rude, I haven't asked you yet, I've been so excited about this. I hope it's been a good one. Have you got this palette? Have you ordered it? If you have, and you've got an Instagram or something, pop the link in the comments of any looks that you've done, and I'll go and have a look at them. I always like seeing what other people have done with, you know, palettes, see what inspiration they've had from the palette, see if it's similar to what I've done. Or if you attempt this look, then I'd love to see the results of that as well. So, you know, do drop the link. It may initially go across into spam, because YouTube does that sometimes. If you put a link down, it automatically spams it. I go in and check comments usually every other day. So as soon as I see it's in there as spam and and realise it's not, then I'll approve the comment and it'll appear. So don't panic if you put it on there and it suddenly disappears. It's not me automatically doing it. That's YouTube's algorithm. In case people are spamming me. That's blended really nicely. Right, I'm going to take all the colour off of that brush. I'm just going to gently buff where the two colours meet, just so there's a nice seamless transition between the two. And I'm then going to go into some smaller brushes. Clean that off again. Now, because my lashes actually curl up quite a bit on the corners here, most people can go in with a brush like this and just deposit the the pigment. But if I do that, I either end up with it not coming right to my lash line, or the bristles go in my eye, which makes my eye water and ruins my makeup, which is not what we want. So I use a pencil brush just to do the corner, and then I use this more densely packed and tapered brush to go through the crease. I think I'm going to go into a stroke and just tap that off. And I'm just going to go pretty much the brush length. I just want to go sort of about a third of the way along the eye with this. I may need to go into one of the browns to deepen it up. We'll see how this blends out. Just dust that little bit of fallout away just there. I should now go in with this brush. Again, into stroke. And I'm going to tilt my head back and waggle it along the crease. Because I don't want to take this colour up the eye at all, I just want to blend it through the crease. I think I might have to pick up a little bit of drizzle just to deepen it up a little bit. So I'll just waggle a little bit of that through as well. And buff over that corner there just to make sure it's totally blended. And then I'm just going to do a little twirly whirl. It's actually on the crease line. I'm not going to take it up above it like I did before. I'm literally just buffing that crease line out that we've just laid down. Yeah, I quite like that. So let's repeat. Pick up a little bit of stroke. It's actually coming out quite orange on my viewfinder. I'll have to see what it looks like when I do the actual editing in a minute. Tilt my head back, waggle that through the crease, off the corner, pick up a little bit of drizzle, buff that through the crease, blend the corner. You see what I mean now about not getting right to the corner with it, right to the lash line. That really emphasises my point, doesn't it? Can't see what I'm doing at the moment, I'm relying on muscle memory. And I'll just blend that along the crease there. Just to give us a nice little bit of depth. Yeah, I like that. I'm just going to close that palette for a minute and clean these two brushes off. Because I'm going to attempt to cut a crease. This will either go very well or very badly. Right, I'm going to go into this, it's actually a concealer brush, but as you know I tend to blend mine out with a flat foundation brush. I'll put the palette down somewhere, there we go. Right, and I'm going to go into, because I want these colours to pop, I'm going to use a Colourpop concealer, because I've got the pure white one, which is Fair 00. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this on the lid. Where I want to cut the shadow. And I'm going to pick up a bit on this brush and just smooth the edges out. Now, where I've got deep set eyes, you can normally just put some along your lash line, open your eyes and look up, and it will show you where the top of your cut crease needs to be. If I do that, because my eyes are so deep, I end up with something right up here. So I kind of have to keep my head tilted backwards and just do it on my physical, where my eyeball is. And then try not to open that eye fully while I do this one. This one's so much easier where I can actually close the eye. But obviously, being blind in the other one, closing it isn't really an option. I mean, it's alright for just blending the corners out and stuff like I did before. But any actual detail work, I need to be able to see what I'm doing, obviously. So I'm just going to repeat again with the brush. Just make sure we've got that where I want it. And I just need this to dry down a little bit before I put shadow on top of it. So what I might do is pause the film so you don't have to sit there for a couple of minutes while this dries down, because that'll be extremely boring for you, and I'll probably run out of things to talk about, which means it will be even more boring for you because I won't be wittering away at you. I am going to be trying. I've got a stamp thing coming to me which is meant to make doing a cut crease really easy. So I'm going to be trying that in a couple of videos' time. But for the minute, she's tilting her head backwards so she doesn't actually open her eyes. I'm going to pause you while this dries down a bit and I'll be straight back. Right, I'm back. I'm going to use a very similar shape brush, but this is a packer brush. And I'm going to go into Quench. I'm just going to push that just on the inner corner to pack the colour on. And obviously the same with this eye. This is a lovely vibrant yellow, really beautiful. Clean the brush off. And then I'm going to go into Submerge, which is the blue. I'm just going to pop that on the very outer edge. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm really glad I laid that white base down now, because that looks stunning. And I'm going to do the same this side. I'll clean the brush off, and then I'm going to go into Splash. Pop that in the middle. Oh, I do like this. This is really nice. I'm loving these bright pigments. I really hope it's coming out on screen how bright this is and how really beautifully these are packing on. Because sometimes when I do this, I have to go in 3 or 4 times to build this intensity of colour. But you can see straight away that's putting the colour straight on for me. Love that. I think what I might do is do a bit of kumquat. I'm just going to run that under. Oh, I've got a little bit of blue fallout there, look at that. Let's dust that away, shall we? There we go. Lovely. Right, I'm going to pick up a little bit of kumquat just on the tips of the bristles and just smudge that along the bottom lash line. And obviously repeat this side. I always flinch this side because where I can't see I always worry that I'm going to poke myself in the eye with the brush, which has happened on more occasions than I care to remember. Ooh, I like that. Right. I'm now going to get a very thin or small packer brush like this. And I think, let me just have a look at my swatches that I did. Look at the picture on the screen. I think I might go into the silver, which is Divine. Now I've got no idea if this will actually pick up on a dry brush, because obviously the swatches were done with my finger. So I've put a little bit on the tip of the bristles there. I'm going to attempt to just put a very thin. I'm really sorry if you can hear next door's kid having one of his usual temper tantrums. Doesn't get his own way, all he does is bloody scream. Just put like a little line of silver at the end there. This formula is definitely different to his usual shimmer formula. It's almost reacting like a cream in the pan when you're picking it up. And yeah, it's not ideal putting it on with a brush. I think a finger would be better. But as you can see, it is actually going on because I just want a really fine line of glitter. I don't really want a huge with it because I want to make the most of the blue, the green and the yellow that I'd already put down. But I just want a little bit of kick. And in fact I might put a little bit. Let's use a little bit of that on the inner corner. Oh, look at that. And just bring that around. Yes, I'm aware I've got a little bit in my eye. There we go. Just bring that round to meet, what was it, kumquat. If I show you what I mean about the pan, that it's almost reacting like a cream rather than a pressed glitter. I quite like that actually. And again, I'll just use it in here and bring it down a little bit to meet kumquat. That's really stunning. I really want to try a little bit of let's try Lick, the middle one. Just going to try popping a little bit of that over the yellow. Just putting that. Sorry, I'm being really quiet, aren't I? I'm normally talking to you. But I'm just putting that right at the start of my lid there, so that the yellow kind of flows out of it almost. Oh, I can see I'm going to have to do this again, or use this in more tutorials and use some of these shimmers all over the lid. But I wanted to use as many of the mattes as I could today, and I've used the whole top row and 4 out of the bottom rows. There's only one of the mattes I haven't tried, and that's Subtle. I'm just going to pull my eyelid out there a little bit, because this one does crease a lot more, because it got pulled around a lot by the ophthalmic hospital when I was a kid. It tends to crease a lot more just in that corner. There. I really, really, really like that. I know I probably shouldn't be praising myself for doing it, but I really like that finished look. Okay, I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to put some eyeliner on and some mascara, and I will be straight back. Hey, so I'm back. As you can see, I've just done a little wing. Oh, not gone quite close enough to my lash line there, have I? There we go. As I said, I've just done a little wing today because I wanted the eyeshadow to be the centre of attention, which I think we can safely say it is. Now, because I've used silver on the inner corner, I've actually got a Wet n Wild highlighter called Diamond Lily, and I'm going to use this up under my brow here just to continue the theme. But then, because my eyes that I've done are quite warm, I'm going to go in with Uranus or Uranus, or however you want to pronounce it, to do the rest. So let's zoom you out a minute. Boop. Okay. You can see this is one of my favourites because the pattern is just about gone. Now, with Jeffree's highlights, to avoid getting hard pan, I always use a densely packed brush like this. So we'll do a little bit down the middle of the nose, a bit on the chin, Cupid's bow, and then, of course, cheeks. I do love this one. It's such a it's difficult when you're cool undertoned like I am, or neutral to cool. It's very difficult to find a gold that will actually work on your skin, particularly when you're as pale as me. The only two that I've found that works is this one, and probably Sarcophagus, which is the champagne gold out of the 24 carat palette, which apparently he is going to be bringing out in a full size, which excites me greatly. Now, I could put a really bright lipstick on to go with this, but that'll take away from the eyes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use one of the ones which originally was a bullet lipstick, but is now a liquid lipstick, and put birthday suit on. So let's zoom you in and I'll show you how I use the doe foot applicator, because I know a lot of people struggle. So we're going to start off, and you can see Jeffree's doe foots actually hold a good chunk of colour, okay? So we're going to start off doing the inner rim of our bottom lip. Then turn the brush sideways and use the outside edge to line your lip. My lips are a bit dry at the moment, so it's probably not the best advert for a liquid lipstick at the moment, but never mind. And then for the top lip, it's the 45-degree rule. So we turn it 45 degrees one way, and this is great for defining your Cupid's bow or creating one if you don't have a very defined one. And we're going to do a short stroke on the inside of the Cupid's bow, and then keeping it at 45, continue that to the outside of the lip. Okay, bring it back to centre, and then 45 degrees the other way, and repeat. And you should now have an M. And then we turn the doe foot upside down and we go from the corner of our mouth to the lines we just made. And then fill in any lip that hasn't got any colour on it. Really sorry if you're hearing that in the background. This is why I normally film earlier in the day. Okay, let's zoom you back out again. I've got to be honest, I really like this look. Right, I am going to pause you, do something with my hair. I'll be back for my sum up. Don't go anywhere. Hey, I'm back. So, do I like this? Yeah, I do. Obviously, I'm going to do some more tutorials this week using some of the other shimmers, but this was worth the wait. It's definitely worth the wait. I absolutely love it. Really, really beautiful, punchy colours and perfect for the summer. Get the feeling you might be seeing that quite a bit on this channel. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, if you could hit that like button, that would be great. Or comment, share, subscribe. If you've subscribed, hit that bell. And when you hit the bell now, there's two options. Some notifications or all notifications. If you choose some notifications, you probably won't get any at all. So do check that you've got all notifications selected. Alright, all that's left for me to say is stay fabulous, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.